Hello, everyone, and welcome to Autism Stories, where we connect you with amazing people who are helping autistic adults and teens become more successful. I'm your host, Doug Bletcher, the founder of Autism Personal Coach. The majority of our communication is not the words that come out of our mouths, but our body language, the nonverbal communication. That is why I've become so fascinated with dance, because you can communicate through movement what you might not be able to express as easily with words. So I am so happy today to have Becki Parker join us to talk about her dance career and how dance has been so helpful to her and can be beneficial to so many other autistic people. If you would like to be notified about each week's episode of Autism Stories, we suggest you subscribe on your favorite podcast listening platform. We would also appreciate if you could give us a positive rating and review, as it will help others to learn about autism stories. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Becki, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to start out by learning, where does your story in the autism community begin?
My story in the autism community began in 2015, I think, and that's when I was first diagnosed with autism. And I think it was from then I started looking for opportunities in dance that were more inclusive, and because that would be a lot better for me. And I think that's where my journey began. And I started a Facebook page called Autistic Dancer, and just to try and engage with more people who dance on the spectrum. And yeah, I just started to share bits of my learning as I learned. And I think that's the way I started connecting with other people who had autism. And yeah, so a lot of that was done through social media at first.
Now, I always say there's a sport or physical activity for everyone, and I wanted to talk with you because you're a professional dancer. Why do you think that dance has been right for you?
I think it happened by accident because I didn't always know that I had autism. And so when I was at school, I think I was 14, and my teacher at parents' evening said to my mum that because I didn't really engage with school, I was really quiet and withdrawn, so I should start drama classes, but I didn't want to talk to anyone. But I wanted to dance, so it was kind of the compromise. So that's when that started, and it just became a place for me to escape to, and it just felt like I could be me during that time. And I just became really obsessed with dance, and it's helped me a lot, I think.
And what type of dance do you primarily focus on?
And I primarily focus on contemporary and ballet, but it wasn't always contemporary. So I used to do ballet, tap, and modern dance, and it was quite strict with what you had to do and how you had to do it, and that there was specific dance steps and rules. So when I then started contemporary, I hated it at first because there was no rules. You just had to do anything, and I really struggled with not having rules. But now I love it because I can do anything and really express myself through contemporary dance. So.
For you, what was frustrating about not having any rules?
I think just that I always feel more safe, I think, with rules, because I know that this is the way to do it, because I haven't always known how to do something. Do you know what? Like, I've always felt like everyone was born knowing how to do things and why we do things and what things mean. So rules really make me feel safe, and I know what I'm doing. So it was very frustrating not having that, and being asked to create a contemporary dance at first it felt impossible because I was going back to my ballet steps or my jazz and modern steps, because that's what I knew was a dance step. So I think it was just learning to move as me, and knowing that any movement is dance really. And yeah, but it's good now to know that you can do anything. so you can create new things and show people.
And how long have you been dancing for?
I've been dancing for roughly 16 years, and yeah, I had a few breaks on and off for different reasons. I gave up a few times, but yeah, it's been a long journey.
So my niece is in high school and has been dancing for several years, and put in many hours, and has improved immensely over the years. And I'm definitely proud of her. But she's probably a long ways from being a professional dancer. So so I'm wondering how much dedication or training on your part did it take to get to this level?
It took a lot of training, but yeah, I would say that for me, it's been more the dedication and the passion that's kind of got me to where I am rather than the training. Um, so I think there's a lot more online now, which is much more accessible um, to people because it's not easy going to a dance class when you're on the spectrum because it's just a lot of noise, different people, and whereas if you're at home and you can now train online, it's so much easier. Yeah, a lot of dedication. Just use the passion, and yeah, I think when people have told me I can't do something, that's kind of been yeah, that's really what's really motivated me at times.
Now, Now you're also a choreographer and created a dance called Hunting for the Unicorn that explores your younger years as an autistic person. Can you share with our listeners more about this dance?
So, Hunting for the Unicorn is a solo dance piece, and it's based on my experience growing up with autism, but not knowing that I had autism, and just kind of the different struggles that people face. The point of it is just to send the message to people that it doesn't matter who you are, how whatever differences you have, and just that each of those differences is special and unique and should be celebrated. Yeah, it helps people search within themselves for what makes them special and unique, and just celebrates that within them. So it had bits in. There was a school kind of section where I was sat at a desk, and then there was a voice coming from the speaker saying, just giving different instructions, but my interpretation back then and sometimes now would be totally different to someone who wasn't on the spectrum. So, say for example, put your thinking caps on. So then I would then put a cap on, and then if I raised my hand and it said put your hands down, I wouldn't just put my hand down. I would put my hands on the floor, and so just sharing with people my perspective, but through dance because at the time that was being choreographed, and I was being supported by Tin Arts with that, which is an organisation in Durham. And so back then, I think it was about 2 years ago, I couldn't just talk like I am now to you, and I couldn't just talk to people about it. So that was really my only way to help people understand by showing them through dance. So it was really an important part of my dance life.
And what's been the difference from now compared to 2 years ago where you're able to talk about these things?
I think it felt like the first time I performed Hunting for the Unicorn, it felt like that was me kind of telling the world, um, and explaining to people and helping them understand me. And also, people said it helped them understand their children or other people. Um, but I think from then I was able to have a conversation with someone because they would ask me about it and about the dance piece. And I think that's where I just seemed to get more confident talking about my autism, and because I felt like it was out there now.
Huh.
And I think, yeah, a lot of the research that went into that dance piece and kind of looking back through my younger years, it helped me understand myself more, and then that was easier for me to put into words, I think.
Makes a lot of sense. Beyond dancing, you are a leadership coach. I'm always very interested in anyone that's involved in coaching. So what's been your this experience been like for you?
Amazing. It's still happening now. So I applied for a job last year to be a leadership coach with Inclusion North, which is an organisation that really passionate about making inclusion a reality for everyone with a learning disability and or autism, or just anyone. And so I applied for it, and then I found out that I got the job. So I was totally shocked for a very long time about just getting a job, getting a paid job. So that was big. And then when I started, I was really nervous, but I can use my experiences to help other people. So the type of work I'm doing is I work with on a team of three with another two people, and we are making boards of directors and trustees more accessible so that people with a learning disability and or autism can be part of a board of directors within an organisation. Just have that real important decision making right from the top. Um, yeah, so it feels really good to kind of help change the world, and I just like helping to make things more inclusive, and I really enjoy the work.
Now, in preparing to talk with you, I came across a website that has your brand, Autistic Dancer Clothing. So I'm wondering, for you, what do you see the connection with dance and fashion?
I think it's probably a lot to do with costumes and dance wear, things that I wear to dance. But I think it was really important to me because I've I'm really into dance wear and clothing, sportswear and things. So I've tried hundreds of times, and I've applied um, to a lot of different companies within dance brand, and I've just said, hey, you're looking for an ambassador on your website, or I saw it on Instagram, and please can I, be involved? And but I've always been turned away. So it started to affect my confidence, and I could see that in a lot of, well, all dancewear catalogs that I know of, there's no one with, I can't say without autism because you can't really tell, obviously. You can't always tell, but there's no one in, say, a wheelchair, or, yeah, with a physical disability. Do you know what I mean? It just seems to be the perfect ballerina in all of the pictures. So that's something that I'm really passionate about kind of going forwards with, looking into that sort of thing. Just making everything, not just the physical dancing, but how dance wears promoted, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so to have my own brand was amazing, because I just thought, if I can't do it for someone else, then I'll just do it. So I contacted a company called Weird Triangle, and so we collaborated on a lot of the designs, and so I'm really proud of that. And just
And how can people purchase Autistic Dancer Clothing?
and the website is weirdtriangle.com, and then there's a link on there for different brands, and Autistic Dancer is one of them, and that's where you can find all of my clothing range.
Now, now, what about autistic people that want to pursue dance as a career? What advice would you give to them?
I would say, if you want to pursue a career in dance, definitely go for it. And there'll be a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of situations where you just got to not compare yourself to other people, and just keep going and use that passion to drive you through it, because it is worth it, definitely. And because then it can seem like a really long journey at times, and where you don't feel like you're getting anywhere sometimes. But then when you kind of come over one of those hurdles, and then you look back and see how far you've come, it's really feels like an amazing achievement. But sometimes doesn't feel like that. You just gotta never give up.
And thinking about the future, like, what are your goals in dance?
My goals in dance are I want to get into teaching dance. I've recently got onto a teaching program with a company called Company of Others, where I will be teaching 4 Zoom classes, Zoom dance classes, and so I'm really excited about that. And I just want to really push forward with my teaching and just try and show people that I can do it and that I just need to be given a chance and continue to perform and I think mainly focus on sending messages through dance and helping people understand visually, um, which will help them understand other people.
Yeah, there's more than one way to communicate.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Becky, I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much, and for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
As always, thanks to everyone for listening, and a special thanks to Becky. Are you autistic and a fan of the animated show Adventure Time, or want to learn what all the fuss was about? Then join our virtual group as we discuss Finn the Human, Jake the Dog, Marceline the Vampire Queen, and much more at this month's Autism Personal Coach virtual animation group on Friday, July 24th, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. The link can be found for this virtual meeting in the podcast description for this episode. On next week's episode of Autism Stories, we will talk with Super Spectrum Girl about all the wonderful illustrations she does to highlight the autistic community. Talk to you then.